They're coming in illegally. Drugs are pouring in through the border. We have no country if we have no border. Hillary wants to give amnesty. She wants to have open borders. All I said is we have to renegotiate these agreements because our country cannot afford to defend Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and many other places. We cannot continue to afford. She took that as saying nuclear weapons. Look, she's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways. This is just another lie. She gave us ISIS because her and Obama created this huge vacuum. And a small group came out of that huge vacuum because we should have never been in Iraq, but once we were there, we should have never got out. Her plan is going to raise taxes and even double your taxes. Her tax plan is a disaster. When I saw what they did, which is a criminal act, by the way, where they're telling people to go out and start fistfights and start violence. And I'll tell you what, in particular in Chicago, people were hurt and people could have been killed in that riot. And that was now all on tape, started by her.
Well, that was Donald Trump at last night's presidential debate in Las Vegas. Joining us now with reaction to Trump's debate performance and more is the Wynn Resorts CEO, Steve Wynn. So, Steve, we're going to start with the elephant in the room, the reaction to last night's debate in your hometown, in your neck of the woods.
Well, nice to see you, Eric. Nice to be on your program.
Well, thank you. Good to see you too, Steve. Good to see you too.
I watched the debate at my home in Las Vegas with my wife, and I think my reaction to the debate has been pretty much what my reaction to the campaign has been, and that is it was long on negative energy and short on substance, both parties. When Chris Wallace asked those very terrific questions, I thought Chris's handling of the debate was the best I had seen. And his questions were well considered, and especially the ones on the economy, where, you know, where the problem really lies. Our deficit, and we take in $3.1 trillion, and we spend $3.7 trillion, and that's $600 billion deficit at the rate of $50 billion a month. Our government is printing money, and it's degrading the paychecks and the living standard of every single person in America, and it's the cause of so much frustration, anger, and confusion. And I was disappointed that we didn't get into a real substantive conversation about that last night. And, you know, frankly, except for the Senate race, I've been a little frustrated with the campaign so far. I know both people. I know they're very intelligent people. Sometimes it's hard to tell, because they skirt the issues, and I know that both Hillary and Donald could take a much more healthy bite at these problems. If it weren't for the nature of this campaign this year, it's been very distressing. You know, I never thought that I'd see anything quite like what we're having this year, and so when I watch the debate, I'm like most Americans. I'm scratching my head a lot of times at the negative energy of both sides, and wishing that it were otherwise.
Very good.
Wishing that it were otherwise.
Steve, really. I understand that, and I hear that, but here's what we have. We have 19 days left. We have a very close race. You know, by many, many standards, most of the swing states are within the margin of error. Most of them are. Did Donald Trump do enough to change the momentum to bring the ball back in his own court?
Well, you're asking a question that I find hard to answer unless you have a little more distance between the debate and the reception that it's getting, you know, with the public. And I guess for that, we see polls. We know where we were, I think, in the average of all the polls before the debate, and now we're going to see in a few days what we are after the debate. I couldn't tell, honestly, Eric. I've been focused on other things, and of course, I watched the debate, and I've just told you what I think of it.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things you've been focused on. You're looking at a lot of the Senate campaigns. You're looking at Joe Heck in Nevada for that for that vacated Harry Reid seat. Very important, because that's a blue seat that could go red if Heck does win. But there are other, Portman, Ayotte, Rubio, McCain, Toomey. Some of them are doing very well in spite of what's going on the general election, the presidential side. They seem to be holding their own, if not gaining. Is that right?
Yes, I think that Kelly Ayotte and Pat Toomey are running great campaigns. I think Rob Portman has, Ron Johnson and Kirk are challenged, but they're doing a good job. I think that Ron Johnson's doing a good job. I think, I've been heartened and I feel good in an otherwise negative campaign by the positive campaign that's been carried on by our three-term Congressman Joe Hecht, who is running, as you pointed out, for the open seat vacated by the retiring Harry Reid. And Joe, who is a moderate Republican and who has opinions that I agree with on virtually everything, from immigration and the courts and the economy. And I wish that there was a little more of Joe Hecht that I see, the things I see in Joe. I wish I had more substantive conversation from the presidential race. But I guess it's not to be so this year. Well,
let's be optimistic. Let's look at the bright side. Maybe it is. Maybe there's still time. Before we go, Steve, Nevada. If you want to talk swing state, Nevada has been a swing state. It's gone back and forth, but Nevada's picked the president. I think it's every single race, with the exception of one, since 1912. Where does Nevada fall on November 8th?
Well, George Bush carried it twice, his father won here, Bill Clinton won here, and so did Barack win twice. You're right. We go both ways in this state. I think that at least in the Senate race, it's very close, and in the House races. The presidential race, the last poll I saw, that it seemed like Trump was within the margin of error. Hillary was in front. And, it's very interesting. We have a tremendous Hispanic population. Mm-hmm. Nearly 20% of the voters, and they do vote in Nevada, are Latino. And so that will play into it. The African-American vote is about 5% in Nevada. Mm-hmm. But, this is a state with a lot of union employees. My own, for example, and the other resort hotels are highly unionized. And so we have working people here. Yeah. But I can tell you, after speaking to my 12,000 or 13,000 employees, that there's tremendous confusion and dissatisfaction with the cost of health care. All of my employees increased health care costs, in spite of the fact that the company picked up most of the increases, but yet they have the exact same policy that they had before. They paid more money, but they did not get more coverage. Mm-hmm. And I've discussed that with Harry and other people that would listen, because we've been healthcare providers for over 45 years. And, when your prices go up, yep, and the product isn't any better, yep, you sort of wonder whether you got a good deal or not.
And healthcare providers are dumping, but they're saying we're not. We're pulling out of states that they frankly would be doing business in. I think this is an opportunity Donald Trump should be scoring if he hits that Obamacare a little bit harder. Talk about it a little bit more. Steve, I got to let you go right now, but thank you very much for joining us.